Hey everyone, it is Aging Grateful. I am Bobby.
I'm Cedric. Today's video, we're going to talk about is moving back to the U.S. our plan B. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. We are here to have a conversation about some things that have been going on in the YouTube world. And there have been quite a few YouTubers who have actually gone back to where they have come from, whether that be in the United States or Canada or wherever. You are starting to see people moving back for various reasons, whether they have chosen that or things have come about to make that decision for them. And we thought we would address this topic here for us. And it's a very heavy topic, right?
And particularly Kugu Paul, if you guys aren't familiar with his
awesome channel.
And
we'll put his link to his channel below
he does.
in the comments.
If you want Spanish lessons, he probably has the best out there.
Hands down.
Shout
out to you.
But he had put out a video recently, and kind of everybody's that's abroad's been kind of chiming in behind the scenes, like this is a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's we talk about having plan A, B, C, and all these things, but typically, does that one of those plans involve moving back to the U.S.? And if it did, would it change after being abroad for a while? Do you say, you know what, maybe it was at one point, but then after being abroad, it's like, you know what, I don't want to go back. I have to figure something else out. So,
are you talking about going back to the United States for us?
Yes.
Okay. What are your thoughts?
Particularly in the case that, in his case, he has I think his mother-in-law or something that basically a mother or mother-in-law or somebody in the family that you have to take care of. So, let's talk about parents. Those of us have parents left in their
seniors.
So do you move back to maybe potentially take care of them in the case where they need some assistance? Or do you try to work out some other arrangements?
This is a very hard topic for anybody who has aging parents or seniors parents to think about and consider. I know an option could be is having the parent or parents to come and live abroad with you. However, sometimes parents don't want to do that, and these are choices that people make, right, and decisions that are made. You may be comfortable with living abroad, they may not be. So what do you do in that instance? Do you actually go back to take care of the parents, or what do you do?
I don't know. I think now, especially now that everybody's kind of talking about it, it kind of gives you a chance to plan that, right? So
Correct.
Do you say, if you have parents that don't want to or not open to moving, let's say abroad or wherever you are, and it could even be in the States, and your parent or wherever don't want to move to the state that you're in, right? They want to stay where they are. Do you start now planning? First of all, I think it's important to start having the conversations
100%.
with the person
Before you leave.
Yeah, before you leave, or if you've already left or whatever. Now I think it's time to start having those conversations, because it's a thing. Do you uproot your life and move back? And I'll just use my mother for an example, right? My dad passed a few years back, so my mom is still alive, and her and my sister and my brother-in-law got a house together. So she's basically living in the house with them. If it were not for that, and she was, basically on her own living, and the situation came about, and she did, let's just say hypothetically, she did not want to move abroad, what would that look like for me?
Yes, what would that look like for you?
I think I would start planning. If we had this conversation, I would talk to her about other plans, because I don't think that I would uproot my life and move back to, basically help take care of her, or her move in with us or whatever, because our goal is retirement. And since it was so late for us to start this planning, this journey, I don't see how that would just basically slow down things a lot.
Correct.
I mean, because you mentioned like Paul, he mentioned in his video, he went back to the States and he was doing fine. I mean, he was just like, here, you staying in Airbnbs, you're walking places, you get a place downtown where you're kind of close to things like that, and you're walking around. But then that U.S. fast-paced life hits you, right? So then you get a car, right? So then if you're married, then, you and your wife can't be at the same, two different places with one car. So then you get another car, and then it doesn't make sense to rent. So you buy another house, and then you just kind of get back into that cycle again. And I can't see getting back into that and trying to still build a retirement for ourselves. I think with
I wouldn't want to.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to. I think I would start talking to my mother about other options, whether that be homes, a senior community. Maybe we can help pay rent towards, a senior community that she's in, or something like that, versus us uprooting and basically starting over.
What about sickness?
Sickness, depends. What can you do with sickness?
Like if your parents are ill, or your children are ill, or...
Right, but still, is it sickness to where it's something we have to take care of, or is it sickness to...
Yes. It's a tough conversation.
Yeah, and it's, what's sad about that is they probably get better care abroad.
They would probably.
So I would try to convince them. I would do everything in my power to try to convince them to move abroad. And if it got to the point where they couldn't make decisions, then I would make that decision
For them.
For them, yeah.
We've known people who have made the hard decisions when it comes to their parents, because they may not have been able to take care of their parents, to put them in some type of a home or a facility, a care facility, but still pursue the life abroad. And it is, regardless of the situation, it's a tough situation. It's a hard situation to make. And our hearts go out to those people who have to make those decisions at this time. Shout out to Paul as well, because him and his wife made a tough decision. But they did it for, taking care of their parent. So children, same thing. We do have quite a few children, and so does parents, does things like this take you off your goal of moving abroad? It's a very real and very scary situation to talk about. Our plan B is to stay outside of the United States, even if that meant moving to another country or something like that to do so. But it's definitely not our plan B, C, D, or otherwise. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, and it was interesting that, the video came up, because I always looked at it as a plan B, as something like if something happened, job-wise or whatever, right? I always joke around. I said my plan B is to move to Thailand and buy a condo and just,
sit.
just sit, right? But this kind of brings a different dynamic to it. And people on here might say we're selfish or whatever, but you have to do what works for you. I mean, you only have one life,
You
right?
only have one life.
We are all where we are based off decisions we have made in our lives. That's everybody, right? So we are where we are because of decisions that we make.
And we're not saying we don't love our parents or our
No.
kids or anything like that. That is not what we're saying. We're saying we also love us. So, and there's nothing wrong. I think there's the stigma behind living life for yourself too, and that and being selfless and taking care of others. And the reality of the matter is that you cannot, as the airlines always say,
I was just about to say that.
you cannot sit here and help others if you yourself haven't been helped.
Right.
So, you know, you got to put the oxygen mask on yourself first, and then you can help others. And people say, oh my gosh, you know, that's crazy. But even with having children, they say that even with children, make sure your mask is on first so that you can go ahead and put the mask on the child. Because if you don't, then the child and you
Right.
could perish. So you have to look at it from this perspective that yes, we made the decision to move abroad or live abroad, and we would, if you know our parents needed assistance, we would talk to them as an option, which we're probably going to really wind up doing anyway right now. I mean, we know where our parents stand, but things could change,
Yeah,
right?
things change.
So to revisit this again is a good one. And for those of you out there who are already abroad, and you are having, you know, you have parents or you have children back in the States, or, you know, people who you care for back in the States that you're close to, and knowing that this might potentially be something that could come down the radar, not saying that it would, it is best for you guys to have that conversation now.
Yeah, because I think, you know, especially the longer you live abroad and the more you share and the more that, you know, your family see that see your life and see you're okay and see you thriving and see your health getting better and all that, it may change the mind and the conversation.
It might, yeah. You know, you don't know what you don't know, right?
Right.
So seeing that. Also too, you know, if it's something like our health, I will say this. I know a lot of people make the decision because of healthcare and finances related to that. You know, that it's more expensive because everything comes out of pocket now if you are abroad, opposed to, you know, having medical insurance in the States or in Canada or Medicare or whatever these other countries have. A lot of it is based in currency of cash here for healthcare. However, can I say this? I think the quality of care is better, and having money set aside to be able to take care of that. We all, no one knows the future, right? No one can predict things that might be happening to you or may happen to you, but our prayer is that, you know, we try to safeguard things as much as possible and try and prepare and plan for things as possible. So making sure you get those checkups when you need to, making sure that you stay in touch with the doctors here, have your medical records with you if you can. But that I would definitely not want to go back to the States when it comes to medical care.
No, I'm about to say you can also get, I mean, they have all kinds of insurance. You can get all kind of expat insurance, a safety wing, and all those things. And I've heard great things. I've heard people go and, you know, $20,000, $30,000 doctor bills, and they pay, you know, maybe $2 or $3 grand out of pocket. So there's definitely insurance options. Everything is not, you know, you have to have this big stockpile of cash.
And also, if you become a permanent resident, a lot of times you can get on the actual public health care system of the country. So that may be worth looking into if you are planning to live somewhere for an extended period of time, not just temporary residency, but look at the permanent residency options, because that may actually help you with your health care long term. So things like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's It's a tough one.
Oh, it's a tough.
It is definitely a tough one.
But knowing the desires of people wanting to continue to move abroad and live the better quality of life that they feel that they have, and to turn around to go back can be very stressful, can be very painful and hard. And we just want to say we don't want to go back to the United States. That's not on our radar, our plans, and we pray that, God willing, we don't ever have to. But let's all start the conversation about how we can try to reduce as much situations that come up that would result in that as possible.
Yeah, and they say never say never. Never say never, but
Yeah, never say never.
never say never, but if it came down to that emergency, like you literally had no other options and we had to move back, we would definitely have a plan of what that would look like, or what we would try to make that look like. We talk about that, from time to time.
Absolutely. Not that we ever want this
No,
to happen.
it wouldn't be moving back into our house and
Oh,
picking back up. No, it wouldn't be none of that.
No, absolutely not. But let us know your thoughts. Chime in. We'd love to hear from you in regards to this, because it is something that's really going on here. And we're seeing these videos and we're like, okay, this is something that we need to address, but also have the conversations with our families in regards to it as well, and try to maneuver and look and see what options are available to us if some things come up that would potentially draw us back to the U.S., right? So if you found this video helpful, do us a quick favor and
Like, subscribe.
comment, share this video.
Yeah, we're probably gonna get beat up in the comments.
Oh my God! But share this video, because regardless of how you feel, it's still a conversation.
Right.
Okay, it's still something that needs to be talked about, and whatever the comments are, we're going to welcome them, because you know what, these conversations and comments and stuff like that are things that we talk about as well. So yes, do that. And anything else you want to talk about?
Nope. Until next time.
Until next time, deuces.